I learned to climb outside in my 20s in California. And then we moved to Atlanta, with little kids. I didn't climb. And then they got older and my son joined the rock climbing team. And so I just returned to what was an initial passion I always had. Hi, I'm Jamie Becker. I live in Atlanta, Georgia with my husband and two sons that are college age. I was diagnosed with gastric cancer in January of this year, 2024. I am now 4+ months post total gastrectomy. They found a pretty large tumor near the top of my stomach, near my esophagus. I'm a pretty emotionally strong person. I would say generally, I think people look at me that way. I would say that this was very, very emotional for me, very, very devastating to think about losing my stomach. It felt like I was packing for a trip to the underworld. So Lynch Syndrome patients have an 80% lifetime risk of developing colorectal cancer, and then they have a much higher incidence of developing other cancers as well. So endometrial cancer, 10% risk of stomach cancer. My family had colon cancer, multiple people in my family, and they had found out that we had this genetic mismatch. And I went to go get a whitehead, what I thought was a whitehead, checked out. And they told me they could tell from the mutation in the biopsy that I was indeed Lynch positive. So yeah, I found out in my mid-30s. You just move forward with your life, but you always have that kind of filter, that lurks in the background. I'm very fortunate to have great doctors who would do aggressive annual screening on me. And so that is actually how I caught this cancer. I was having, as I look back, symptoms, but it was intermittent and it wasn't increasing. Originally, when they did the protein test, it came back that my tumor was not MSH high. And so I said, how could this be? Like, I am in our family friend, the oncologist that was in the practice center, said it's really unlikely it's not MSH high. Like with Lynch, you have a 10% chance of this, and you're not really a candidate for gastric cancer. I don't fit the profile of a gastric cancer individual. My lifestyle doesn't. So we didn't believe the protein test, and it turned out the protein test has a 40% error rate, but yet you have to pick your treatment very quickly because it's extremely aggressive cancer. So sure enough, we did the DNA test, and yeah, I was MSH high. The original test was error prone, which to me is just devastating to think, right? How many Americans don't get access to good information, right? Or don't get that information until it's too late. So I got on this clinical trial, which gave me first-line treatment immunotherapy, which I also feel very fortunate because I think usually immunotherapy is not available to you at stage 3. I had 2 doses. I felt my appetite starting to return. And then I had a CT scan and they said, yeah, ET's light is dimming, your tumor's light is dimming. So I was responding to immunotherapy. Because I had such a good response to immunotherapy, they didn't think I would benefit from the chemo and the radiation. Now I'm getting this kind of standard of care for immunotherapy, which is every 6 weeks. I'm able to go rock climbing and, live my life. And so by March 26th, by surgery, when they went to surgery, they said, yeah, I'd had great, fantastic response to immunotherapy. And I was 0 lymph nodes at surgery, so restaged to stage 1. I would say now it's going very, very well. I think the first couple weeks are a big challenge. You're kind of educated on all the big nightmare stuff. You're not educated on the small nightmare stuff, like that all your medicines are going to have to be liquid now. And, so everything in that things taste really bad. Your whole microbiome's messed up. I did lose a lot of weight that I didn't have to lose. I'm normally about 112 pounds. I gained weight intentionally for surgery, went up to about 118, and now I'm 96 pounds, but stable at 96. But I'm still really strong. At 3 weeks, I went out to run 4 miles, and it felt like all my organs were shaking inside and kind of unmoored, right? Like a boat in a hurricane. But I kept doing it.
And like, believe me, my energy was very low outside of the running. I was like, okay, I'll put in a couple puzzle pieces and I'll go lay back down on the couch. But that really upped my energy. I suddenly would get home after running and I'd feel like cooking something, which I hadn't before. Since having my gastrectomy, I just climbed my first 512 climb. 512 would put you in the kind of in the, like, I think considered pro category for a woman. It's really felt like a huge difference from what I expected going into this terrible diagnosis, right? And so that feels really hopeful, and I want to spread that message of hope to people. Specifically for stomach cancer, I think the more data they have on immunotherapy working for stomach cancer, I mean, I think that like that's the thing, is that moving it to first-line treatment for lower stages, I think could have a tremendous impact on a lot of people, right? So I hope that my trial helps move that forward, because it's obviously, it's not just about surviving, right? It's about surviving and being able to enjoy your life. And my chances are really great now to be around for a long time. So don't go spend down my entire 401k, right? Ozempic's got nothing on stomach cancer, man. I'm gonna leave with a joke.